Hey guys, Cam for 15, joined by my Uncle Darrell, back with another NFL video for you guys. Um, Listen, free agency is hit, and man, the first day of NFL free agency was absolutely crazy. I'm over here
Yep.
working in the office making sales calls, and I'm seeing boom, 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 back to back to back. I'm thinking some of these
Yep.
moves are going to be like sprinkled throughout the first 3 days. Most of the big moves happened realistically that very first day, and then that was kind of it for the remaining parts of the day.
And usually that's how it goes anyway. Our teams are always in that rush to hurry up and get, their guy because they want to keep their guy away from, other teams.
Yeah.
The Bears really made some really nice moves. The Washington Commanders
Hmm.
made some moves. I mean, there were some trades, yes. Um, Buffalo Bills made a move in free agency to get an edge rusher. So I mean, it's the same thing we've always talked about, Cameron. Over the past couple of years, we've been doing this show. Is that when you see your guy, you go get your guy.
Yep. Yeah. So let's talk about it. I'm looking on yahoosports.com. It's actually
Yep.
updated from yesterday, in
Yep.
terms of certain moves. Starting off with the Arizona Cardinals, they really, outside of like re-signing moves, the big move that they made is they signed Josh Sweat, pass rusher, out from the Eagles. So it's a good move for them. It gives
It
them another
is.
pass rusher.
It
Um,
is.
that just helps out. He is up there in age, but he's still solid.
Yeah, I mean it's solid. Again, a guy that the guy that old, yeah, you gonna take the money. You've already got your Super Bowl, which they got. So another one is not assured. But when this contract comes around, it's probably gonna be his last contract. Yeah, you take it. You got your ring. Now you got your money. You good.
Yep. So moving on to the Falcons, they had an interesting offseason. They ended up cutting Grady Jarrett, who then goes to the Bears. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
They re-signed a few of their offensive linemen, right? They did sign Leonard Floyd to a 1 year, $10 million deal.
Yeah.
That's a solid pass rushing deal. He's also another guy that when I heard how old he is, I'm like, holy frick, that dude is old. He's like in his fucking mid-30s already.
Yeah. Leonard Floyd has been around a while.
Jesus. I still remember when he
Yeah.
was on the damn Bears.
He's been around a while. And I think the Bears got him in free agency. It's not like the Bears drafted him.
No, we did
I
draft
mean,
him.
we did draft him. Okay, well
Yep.
then that's how long he's been gone. That's right. You know what? You're right. We did draft him. Um, he didn't pan out. He was solid. But I just don't think the Bears used him the way they should have. I mean, I think the Rams used him pretty well.
Mhm.
But, you know,
Yeah,
like,
they got Mike. They also signed Mike Ford Jr., who's a solid
yeah.
cornerback. But mostly, it's kind of like little moves here and there. They didn't make any
Eh.
big
Yeah, it's
additions.
like, yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
eh.
Now
Is Leonard Floyd going to be that one piece that will put the Atlanta Falcons over the top? No.
so yeah. And then also this was yesterday. The Falcons will be keeping Kirk Cousins on the roster past 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This was for yesterday, which triggered a 10 million roster bonus due in 2026.
Huh?
I don't know why they decided to do that, but that's more on their cap space, not mine.
I mean, think about it for a second. Michael Penix Jr. is the future of that franchise. So it's probably best to have an experienced quarterback to come behind him and to at least assist in the growth maturation process. So I get it totally. Yeah, they're going to be paying a shitload of money in order to do so. But you got to have that process, whereas you can actually bring the starter along.
I think that's stupid, but all right. I guess you're gonna
I
pay
mean,
you're gonna pay
what's
all
the
that
what's
money.
the
Or a backup quarterback.
What's the alternative? Bring in a journeyman who may not teach him anything. Bring in another rookie who can't teach him anything. I mean, you at least they got an experienced quarterback, regardless of the money. They got an experienced quarterback that can be able to bring him along, so that he can guide this franchise. So I mean, honestly. Yeah, they spend a crap load of money, but at the same time, what's the alternative?
We'll see. We'll also see if a team trades for him, maybe potentially. I don't know. We'll
Maybe,
see.
maybe, maybe.
Baltimore Ravens. They didn't really do much of anything. They did resign Ronnie Staley, which is good for them. You never want to let
Mhm.
a great offensive lineman leave your building. So they resigned him to a 3-year, $60 million deal. And then they also signed DeAndre Hopkins to a 1-year, $6 million deal. That's much of nothing there. He's kind of like I'm not gonna say washed, but he's at the point where his career is winding down, and he just
Yeah, I
goes from
mean,
team to team, just try to win a
yeah,
Super Bowl.
yeah. Right now, I think what the issue is with DeAndre Hopkins is, yes, he's up there in age. Um, he can catch. Can he separate? That's the question. So, with the guys they have on the outside, Zay Flowers and Rashid Bateman, I mean, he's a nice little stopgap, in my opinion, at his age and what he can do. So that's all it is. It's just just a deterrent for me to open up Flowers and Bateman.
Yeah. Buffalo Bills. Probably the biggest move that they made was re-signing Josh Allen to a new deal. He reached a 6-year, 330 million guarantee or contract that includes 250 million guaranteed, the largest guarantee ever to an NFL player.
Yep.
This dude had 4 years left on his original deal, and basically he signed it. And also the deal is actually a lot cheaper than a regular deal would have been, which he's already went on a podcast and talked about it because he just kind of was like, well, I don't really need the money. Like at this point, like who cares? You know, he's just trying to win a Super Bowl before his career ends. Um, hey, the dude's gonna be a Buffalo Bill for life. Like plain and simple, the dude's gonna be a Buffalo Bill for life.
Yeah.
Smart of the Bills to offer him this deal. Now, you know, what more? What better thing you can't have? He got the money. He already got Haley Steinfeld, that is basically his fiance. He just got to get that Super Bowl ring. I don't. He's one
Yeah.
of my favorite players to watch.
I gotta admit, when it comes to Haley Steinfeld or Taylor Swift, I'm going with Haley. To tell you about it, I'm going with Haley. Taylor just don't do it for me. But you know, but as far as the money is concerned, yeah, I don't know who instigated the talks for the contract, whether it was Buffalo. You can probably tell me
I
that.
guess it
Whether it
was
was
Buffalo.
Buffalo, I would guess it would be Buffalo too, because Josh was just like, dude, I got 4 years on my deal. So why would I go ahead and work another one? Let's just use the funds that we have and build the team. But now we're talking like he's going to be making what, upwards of about 50 million a year. Um, I mean, that salary cap is gone. And granted, the salary cap does get higher year after year. But I'm trying to tell you, when Kansas City signed Patrick Mahomes in that big contract, you and we actually did say we thought it was a mistake. And after that, yeah, they did get a Super Bowl after that. But after that, Kansas City started penny pinching, um, and they lost some players. So, and now they're right back to doing that stuff again. They're penny pinching.
Um,
They can't.
that's why
So
they're restructuring contracts.
correct, correct. So, is it wise to just sign your quarterback to a 6-year, $330 million deal when he had 4 years already left on his deal? Who knows? Now, does the 6 year start when the 4 year ends? That's another question. So if that be the case, then I honestly say, hey, kudos, Buffalo. Lock your quarterback up. And you got him for the next 10 years. Cool. But if this contract negates the current contract, the current 4 year, uh, then I'm thinking you probably made a mistake because eventually Buffalo won't be able to sign anybody.
Well, that's why GMs restructure contracts, and typically they
Correct.
just have the restructure pay have it to where the players get paid up front, so then they have more cap space in the future. So
Correct. Correct. But will Buffalo be willing to do that now that they didn't sign? I would like to know a little bit more. Is this 6 year deal taking effect after his current 4 year? Or does the 6 year is in effect from the day he signs? I would like to know more about that.
well, I think regardless, they can always restructure that contract, and I think he'll, especially as he gets older, he's going to be desperate to try to win a Super Bowl championship. So
Correct.
he won't
Correct.
care.
Correct. Correct.
Um,
But if that contract takes over with after the first 4 years, then they don't really have to restructure anything because he's just under the same contract, and they can still put a team around him for the next 4 years, and they can get a Super Bowl.
yeah, they'll just have to find some way to finally beat the Chiefs, or some other team's got to beat the Chiefs
That's
so they can
correct.
get to it.
That's
They
correct.
did make some other re-signings. Greg Rousseau, their edge player, they re-signed him to a 4-year deal, 80 million. I'm not looking at the guarantees because they don't have the guarantees for whatever reason on him. They also re-signed Khalil Shakir, who's a good wide receiver for Josh Allen, for
Good
4 years,
signing.
60.2 mil.
Yep.
Terrell Bernard, linebacker for the Bills, re-signed 4 years, 50 mil. They
Yep.
also picked up Josh Palmer coming over from the Chargers, 3 years, $36 million deals, which is good as another weapon. He's actually pretty. He's a solid wide receiver. He's not like
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy good, but he's a solid like dude to fill in there, right?
And the thing is that Amari Cooper just had issues just translating into the new offense. So Palmer would be pretty nice as an addition to be able to add at least another potential weapon, I would say, to the offense. Especially if Amari Cooper gets acclimated, oh dude, man, with him and Shakir, oh man, Buffalo's gonna be nice.
They also did sign Joey Bosa off the market because the Chargers ended up cutting Joey Bosa,
That's
and they got
correct.
Joey Bosa for 1 year, 12.6 million. It's a
Correct.
solid move, 1 year type of thing. Obviously, the number one thing is how long will he be healthy for? Because if he gets hurt, he can be out for dang near half a season and then never come back usually. So
Yeah.
hopefully he's healthy for his Bills tenure. He's going to be obviously the opposite edge outside of Gregory Rousseau, and also that's another reason why they cut Von Miller too. The Bills
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's like Joey Bosa is still old.
Yeah, they got both on the cheap, and
Yeah,
that's why they let Miller go. But they can limit Bosa's snaps to passing situations in which they don't necessarily have to have him up in there for you know 30 plus plays. They can probably get some really good um, um, effect out of him with anywhere to 15 to 20 plays a game.
yeah. So that's kind of basically the moves. They also signed Larry Ogunjobi and Michael Hocht. But I think both of them, I think they got suspended for 6 games for PEDs.
I
So
know Ogunjobi, I think, did.
yeah,
I know,
Ogunjobi, I know for sure. I don't know about
yeah.
Hocht yet.
No, neither do I. But but at the same time, it's for the first 6 games. That'll give him an opportunity to at least again get acclimated and get his body right, keep his mind right, and he'll be able to perform week 7. So I think I mean it's not that it's a big deal, but Buffalo can survive the first 6 games without him.
Yeah. So the Carolina Panthers, they mostly made some big moves, but mostly on the defensive side of the ball. Um, they re-signed J.C. Horn to a 4 year, $100 million deal, which was like the highest a corner's ever gotten at this point, right? Which I look at the Jalen Johnson contract and I'm like, oh, thank God he took like way cheaper for whatever
Mhm.
that happened. So, hey, listen, I'm not gonna say what the Panthers did is right. J.C. Horn's a really good corner, but 100
He
mil.
set the market for sure. Though. You got to give Horn some credit, man.
Yeah.
He has now set the market. And a lot of players, that's what they want to do. A lot of players are not successful unless they got those skills. And J.C. Horn has got some really good ball skills. So We'll see how it goes moving forward. But at least the Carolina Panthers do look decent on defense.
Yeah. They also signed defensive tackle Tershawn Wharton, 3 years, 54 mil. They try and say they signed safety Trevon Morig, 3 years, 51 million. Another defensive tackle move, Bobby Brown the third, 3 years, 21 million. They signed Michael Jackson, cornerback, 14.5 million. Most of their signings are just defensive signings. They did resign Adam Thielen to a cheap deal. Andy Dalton's coming back for a 2 year cheap deal just to back up.
Yep.
Um, what is it? Bryce Young.
Bryce Young,
They also did sign Rico Dowdle coming over from not Chicago, Dallas. One
Dallas.
year, 6.25 mil. It's gonna be interesting to see how he does with them because he was really good last year with Dallas.
True.
But solid moves. We'll see how Carolina does.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I don't foresee them, actually making the playoffs or anything like that,
Yeah.
but at least they'll be competitive. Coach Canales has actually been, having a really good effect on the team over the past couple of years, and we'll see where it goes. And
Yeah, it's kind of all up to hopefully that Bryce Young just doesn't, for whatever reason, take a step back.
well, I mean, he looked good after being benched.
Yeah,
So it's just a matter, I guess it's just a matter of piggybacking on what you all have done since bringing him back to the starting lineup. And maybe Dalton has something to do with it, which is the reason why they brought him back.
yep,
Maybe he's having an effect on Young. We don't know. So um, we'll see.
yep. So the next team, which is our Chicago Bears, they probably had one of the biggest splashes in free agency, day one. I've said it. We said it in our videos time and time again. I've said it even on separate videos when it comes to Ryan Poles. Listen, like we said it through all the game recaps. You need to improve the frickin' trenches because your trenches are getting blown up
Correct.
offensively and defensively. And when Ryan Poles is making these signings in the past, where you're just, let's get this dude for 1 year, 6 million. Let's go get this dude who's being drafted out of frickin' Yale University.
Let's
Let's
stop
go
gap
get,
this dude. Let's
yeah,
stop gap this dude. We'll just stop gap and eventually we'll get the guy we want, but it, it didn't work because, you had a head coach who just basically didn't know what the heck he was doing.
yeah.
Oh, on another note, the Magic stopped the Cleveland Cavaliers streak.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Are they in
yeah.
Orlando or Cleveland?
It doesn't matter.
I would say it matters.
Oh, I think they were in Cleveland.
Oh,
I
that's
think
pretty big.
that's pretty big. So was it 16 games in a row that Cleveland's been winning?
I think 12 or 13.
No, it was like 16 or something like that. 17. No, that's what
Oh,
it was.
17.
17.
Lockdown
It
17.
was
It was
17.
trying to go
The
for
reason why I
17.
remember that, and I know we off topic, I'm sorry, I'll get back on the topic because I remember that the Bulls went on an 18 game winning streak um in 96.
Hmm.
And that's the number that stuck out to me as far as the Cleveland Cavaliers streak. So anyway, but that's our NBA tidbit probably for the entire year.
Yeah, I can't. I'm done watching Clippers basketball because they make me sick. I'm done
Yeah, I
watching
can't
NBA
watch
as
the
a whole.
Bulls either, man. They just pathetic. And then, you got fans, oh wow, they beat Houston.
And also the Luka to LA trade. It just feels like NBA freaking forcing that happen to save their ratings that are just dwindling. But that's just me.
It's
So
NBA purgatory. It's still NBA purgatory. It's not gonna help the Lakers. I think when the Mavs are fully healthy, they're a better basketball team, but that's only if they're fully healthy.
the only biggest thing that NBA has got right, or outside of the Luca thing that I've only seen in the last freaking few weeks, is the freaking confrontation between Stephen A. and LeBron. And even then, I think that's so over
Oh God,
exaggerated.
gee, you know what? To tell you honestly, and I know we getting off topic, and we will. This is supposed to be about the NFL, But in my opinion, Stephen A was wrong. When you come at that man as a father, then you get what you get. If he had just stuck to basketball and Bronny not being ready for the NBA, I mean, me as a father, I can handle that. But when you sit up and say, as a father, you should you shouldn't have allowed him in the NBA. Dude, that's coming at me as a person. That's coming at me as a dad. That's more than just basketball. He came at him as a father. And as a father, you are not only looking out for yourself, but you're looking out for everybody beneath you. That means your kids, your grandkids, and great grandkids if you have them. Everything that falls under your feet, you're responsible for. And Stephen A, in my opinion, spit on that when he talked about LeBron James as a father. So I think with Stephen A gets what he gets, and he can do the damage control all he wants. But he talked about LeBron as a dad. So LeBron came at him as a dad, and now he can't handle it. Then shut your damn mouth.
Um, moving on from that.
Yep,
Yeah, we talked over weeks and weeks about how the Bears need to improve the dang trenches. Now,
yep,
I've said in my videos when in regards to moves, I still gotta make my freaking well, I think I did upload my no, I still gotta make the video regarding Drew Dahlman and the other signings there too.
yep,
Um, but I said I've said in those videos, like I know I said in my Joe Tooney Jonah Jackson video that I had on the channel, that I do
yep.
think that Ben Johnson is having an effect in telling Ryan Poles, my offense is not going to work if we don't have offensive line that are competent that can block for at least 5 seconds, please.
I
Uh,
agree.
and I bet you Dennis Allen said, my defense ain't going to work if we can't get no pressure up the middle.
Or
Already
even
on the
better
edge.
yet, my defense is not going to work if we can't stop the run up the middle
That's
and
true.
put these teams in passing situations. We need to make sure when Billings went down, that was it.
Yeah.
There was no depth whatsoever. And we have talked about this ad nauseum with the Chicago Bears. They look good. That first string looks good. But can they survive an injury and put guys up in there and keep the train on the tracks? And the Bears have clearly shown that they cannot, they haven't been able to do it. I'm not going to say they can't do it, they haven't been able to do it. And that's why we think that the Bears aren't done. But the free agent signings, the trades that they've made, fantastic.
Yeah. One of the signings, Dio Oginenbo. I don't know if I'm
I
butchering that.
can't pronunciate it either. I'm not going to try. That's a pet peeve of mine, mispronunciating names. But the number 54 from the Colts, I'll say that. It's
It's a solid move. He's
it's a
young,
solid move, but would I have given him $18 million a year?
probably not.
Probably not. Do I think he probably would have signed for $12 million a year? Probably so.
Yeah, we'll see. Um,
Yeah.
he's a young
Can he
guy with
get 10
potential.
sacks? That's the thing. Can he get 10 sacks? That's what we're questioning.
We'll see. He had a. I know when I was looking over his stats in the video that I did, he had one solid year, I think in 2023, and then he dropped off in 2024. But we'll see. You know, maybe that had something to do with the Colts pass rush. It wasn't Colts pass rush or defense wasn't that good last year, so
No, it wasn't.
you know, you can make the case that's why, but we'll see how it is. He's got Montez Sweat, you know, opposite of him. I still think the
Yep.
Bears will probably take another pass rusher in the draft.
Yep.
But he's got potential. I'll give him a chance. We'll see how he is. Again, it's up to his production to see how the contract is. If he doesn't show up, well then whatever.
Yep.
That contract's a bad contract. Next move, which was actually shocking, Grady Jarrett, they signed Grady Jarrett to a 3 year $43.5 million deal after he got cut the same exact day by the Falcons. And I know even though he's up there in age, regardless, he's still pretty dang good. I know he's coming off the ACL injury and everything, but regardless, like that's another run stuffer to help. Um, Frickin' Andrew Billings.
Yep.
But I like the move. It's a good move. I like it.
I thought it was a good move too. I mean, granted, barring the injury, the production has always been there with Grady Jarrett.
Yeah.
So it's not one of them things whereas, the dude just couldn't play. And we just wind up giving him, I think, what, 12 million, 13 million a year? Or close to 15 million a year. I should say 3 year, 43 million. That's close to 15 million a year. So, I mean, it's not like the cat can't play. And honestly, I don't think the Bears are done with the interior lineman on the defense.
Oh no.
So,
They're
because
looking good.
honestly, when the draft comes, I honestly think they're gonna go with size, 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 size. Just get a bunch of damn big people and shore up these defensive and offensive lines, and let's go with it. I know I joke with you a lot about John T at number 10. I only do it just to push your buttons,
Yeah.
believe it or not, because it does push your buttons.
Yeah, it does. I don't like it. They
I'm
do it.
sorry.
I'm throwing. If I see the Bears draft Ashton Genty, I'm turning the draft off.
Yeah. So I won't turn it off because
No,
I would like
I'm
to see
turning it off.
I would like to see how they move forward. But I just don't think that they're going to, because I think DeAndre Swift is a serviceable back, but as long as he has a really good solid O and D line, I think DeAndre Swift is really good. And I think that's where the Bears will be going. They're going to be going O and D lines specifically for this next draft.
Next move they made was getting Drew Dahlman. This was one of their first dominoes they got done in the first day of free agency.
Hmm.
Signed him to a 3-year, $42 million deal. He does. I don't know the guarantees. I forgot what the guarantees were, but I was just like, thank God I don't have to have a rotating stopgap at center. We actually have a legit NFL center. I don't have to deal with the likes of Sam Mustipher, Cody Whitehair, Lucas Patrick, and then Coleman Shelton, who, funny enough, decides to go back to the Rams.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
finally got a
Well,
freaking good center.
it
Now I
seemed
know he's
like they
not as
put
good in. Go
it
ahead.
seemed like they put everybody at center with the exception of Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright. Those two were solidified at the tackle positions, but if you were a guard, they put you at center too. So it's just been a piss poor way to manage the roster at the center position. But now we got a guy that knows what I think that's experienced that we can be there that can be there for a long time. And I think the only thing is just what we said before, just got to make sure they get some depth at the position through the draft and we should be fine.
Yeah.
Meaning the Bears.
And Drew Dolman, he's been experienced in this league.
Yep.
Even in his press conference, he said they asked him a question about like, I think they basically asked him a question about calling protections. If he can call protections at the Lions, it's like, hey, this dude's gonna be a guy blitzing. Let's move and
Correct.
make the adjustments here on our line. That
Correct.
that makes things easier for Caleb because even what Drew Dolman said in his press conference, he's like, look, if I can just say for the defense, and as we're lining up it takes things off Caleb's plate where he doesn't have to do the line switching and everything. He can call the protections, Dahlman,
Hmm.
and Caleb
That's
can just
correct.
understand, okay, this is where I'm getting help on this side.
Well,
All
that's the
right.
way it's supposed to be. That's the
Yeah.
way it's supposed to be. The center is actually supposed to call the protection. They call it the protection for a reason because the center is the one who's mainly responsible for the line being in the right position and knowing what they're supposed to do. It shouldn't be the quarterback. It
No,
shouldn't
Caleb, no,
be.
no. If Caleb sees something like, okay, this don't look right. I'll change the
Correct.
protection. Yeah.
Correct, but at the same time, if the center who's responsible for calling the protection calls the correct protection, then the quarterback is in a better position to be able to run the play.
Yep. So I like the
I'm
move.
shocked the Falcons let him go,
Oh, I know.
unless they got somebody in tow already that they can
Yeah,
just pop in a
especially with
position
their
already.
quarterback situation too.
Correct. I'm shocked that they let that move happen.
Yeah.
Unless 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 they just didn't want to
They
give
want to
Dalman
pay him.
15, they didn't want to give him 15 million.
You got to pay to get good offense linemen.
Correct.
He's a better run blocker than pass blocker, but regardless, like He's better than any of the pass centers we've had.
The only thing I can think about is they didn't want to give him 15 million.
So yeah. Next move, Bears traded for Joe Tooney. I liked this move. This is clearly a move to where they're because they were it was clear they were in on Trey Smith, and then the Chiefs were like, "Yeah, we saw what happened in the Super Bowl. Franchise tag Trey Smith, and let's get that extension done immediately."
Yep.
So they basically pivoted to getting the older guard, but even though he's older, I still think he's pretty damn solid. He had to play left tackle, and even then at left tackle, he was pretty solid with the Chiefs. But
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
Ben Johnson already confirmed he's going to be left guard, so that's great. Um,
Yeah.
this is a type of move where finally we get an experienced offensive lineman in the building who's been in winning situations with the Patriots and the Chiefs, who can basically be that guy that comes in the locker room immediately. When I saw this guy, I'm like, he better be captain, announced captain on this team right now. That's the captain. That's one of the captains
Hmm.
on your team. This is the type of guy where he steps in the building. Any young freaking offensive lineman you draft or you have going forward, he's the type of guy to show them the ropes. He's the type of guy that tells them, hey, this is what you need to do to prepare for a game. This is how you need to evaluate the film of yourself. It's only going to help Braxton Jones. It's only going to help Karan Amagaji. It's only going to help Darnell Wright. It's going to help any of the young draftees that they potentially draft because this is the type of guy that you lead or you follow as an example. And he
Yep.
knows what it takes to win, what it takes to be a good offensive lineman in the NFL. This is the type of experience that I wanted the Bears to go out there and go get because for the past few years, we haven't had that type of experience from
Nope.
a guy that's proven, who's an all pro type of offensive lineman. We just had, again, like I said, a bunch of has beens, a bunch of dudes that just been around the block. The only other guy that can count that was an all pro was probably Jason Peters. But even then, like some of the guys on the line weren't there when Jason Peters were here.
And he was past his prime anyway.
So,
So it's a great move. And I think the one thing I do love about the whole thing is that they got Dahlman. Dahlman, without Dahlman, it would really be difficult, even if we did get, Joe Thuney and like I say, Jonah Jackson. If we still had Coleman Shelton as center, then the offensive line is already at a disadvantage because of his inexperience and his inability to do the things that we need him to do as fans.
yep,
Whereas now with Dahlman, the domino is with him. And if he calls the right protections, then I think Jackson and Thuney and Wright and Jones are all be in a better position to be able to handle their assignments. So I think again, it's just a great signing, but it's for me, it started with Dahlman.
yeah. And also the Bears also got Jonah Jackson coming from the Rams. He
Yep.
played center there. And then he got hurt. Um, listen, he has connections with Ben Johnson. He was with Ben Johnson in Detroit, so that's good.
Yeah.
I say the reason why he wasn't as good last year was because they played him out of position. When
Yeah.
you play somebody out of position, of course, you're not going to be as good as you once were.
That's
Um,
correct.
so the Bears made that a solid trade. Obviously, the number one thing to see is can he stay healthy? We don't want another Tevin Jenkins thing where he's always in and then out and then in and then out
Yeah.
and in and out. But I think with Ben Johnson there, it's gonna make him play better, and he's gonna be playing at right guard. So solid moves by the Bears. Solid moves, and the rest of the moves were kind of just re-signings, little mini re-signings, but
Yeah.
good, good. I enjoyed it.
The main thing
Cincinnati
is,
Bengals.
especially with Jackson, and
Mhm.
I think I need to say this, if we draft really good rookies that can come in and compete for these positions, then it only makes the whole offensive line better. But you still got to draft the right guy. So we'll see with Jackson, and hopefully everything pans out.
Yeah. My only other thing is I hope they do draft a left tackle so they can actually challenge Braxton Jones for a job. I think he needs competition to understand he needs to get better if he wants to keep his job in the NFL.
Well, I think
So
the same with Jones, same with Jackson. Do this now. Make sure you draft a right guard, draft a left tackle, but at the same time, you still need depth. So, I mean, even though Joe Thuney and Darnell Wright have been mainstays at their positions, then I honestly still think you need to draft younger guys that can come up and keep the train on the track any event they have to miss. And you know it's very rare offensive linemen play all 17 games. It's very rare. So we got to make sure that we have depth on the offensive line, and that's where this year's draft is going to be pretty important for that line this year.
Yep. Cincinnati Bengals. Oh, they're getting into Dallas Cowboy territory of we're not going to pay dudes because we're too cheap.
They're not gonna pay dues because they can't, because they got their money locked up into two players. Or they're about to have all their money locked up into two players.
Yeah.
Because Jamar Chase is gonna set the standard for wide
Oh yeah.
receivers.
Which they should have paid him earlier.
Correct. He's gonna set the standard for wide receivers. I
They put T.
mean,
Higgins on
didn't
the
he just get
French.
the triple crown?
Yeah, yeah.
He just got the triple crown. He's gonna ask for
He's gonna ask
serious
for
money.
money. He's gonna ask for money.
I mean, because Justin Jefferson's getting what, 35?
Oh
You
yeah.
can best believe that he's gonna be looking for 40.
Oh yeah. Just imagine the guarantees.
Yeah,
They also put T. Higgins on the franchise tag again.
yeah,
Trey Hendrickson, they approved he can go get a trade. That
yeah,
move still hasn't happened.
yeah.
They were signing Gesicki to a $25.5 million deal. BJ
Over how
Hill,
many
defensive
years?
lineman. Huh?
Gasecki, over how many years?
3 years.
3 years? He a tight end. Oh, I'm sorry. He's a pass catcher.
They signed BJ Hill, D line, 3 years, 33 million. Joseph Asai, edge, 1 year, 7 million. Just these mini moves and things like that. But realistically, the domino is what you gonna do with Chase and T? You gonna pay
Yep,
both of them?
yep. They're gonna lock all of their money, the majority of their money, into two guys, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Which means they got a freaking draft pretty damn good.
They got a draft damn good.
So, as much as I sometimes don't like being a Bears fan, thank God I'm not a Cincinnati Bengals fan with their
I know
situation.
that's right. It's hard, and I know a couple of them too. So it's. Mm.
Going from one franchise to the next in Ohio, Cleveland. Well,
I get it. And I can see Cincinnati going to Joe and be like, hey, Joe, can we get some of this money back?
oh yeah. The question is Joe going to do that? Probably
You
not.
know, I honestly, if it means somebody signing Jamar Chase, I think he might.
He might. He might.
Yeah.
Before we have to make a new video, Cleveland Browns. They did
Oh
resign
God.
freaking Miles
No.
Garrett to this crazy,
Oh golly.
crazy deal. I'm not even gonna read the amount of money. I honestly think he did all that publicity to get this new contract. This whole trade me, I don't want to be here in Cleveland, and then he gets a new big deal.
And then he had the audacity to say something about winning.
Oh yeah, you ain't winning in Cleveland anytime soon, buddy.
No, you ain't winning in Cleveland, especially not with that contract. Not with that contract.
Cleveland and winning is literally non-existent. The
I
only
have never heard of a defensive end, no, regardless of your talent. I ain't never heard of a defensive end getting this kind of money.
Yeah, he's a great player, but thank God I did not. The Bears did not trade for this dude and pay him all.
Is he more than 40 million? If is he better than 40 million?
Look, man, the Browns, they're just like, we got to keep this guy. So they paid him all the money they wanted. So he'll be in Cleveland, not winning. I'll tell you that.
We'll be like, hey, 40 million, bro. You need to,
We
I
talk about
mean,
quarterbacks getting this type of money, defensive ends getting this type of money.
man, talk about setting the standard.
All right. So also moving on from the Browns, they also did sign Kenny Pickett. Or they traded for Kenny Pickett. Yeah.
It's Cleveland. It's Cleveland. What can I tell you?
All right. Dallas Cowboys, another inept.
Zero.
Yeah. Nothing.
Nothing. Nada. Oh, I'm sorry. They have infighting.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got the usual drama.
Their big signing so far is Diggy Zua. He was signed for 4 years, $80 million deal. It's still funny how they're paying all these other dudes all these type of money, but they're yet to pay Micah Parsons yet.
Well, if you ask DeMarcus Lawrence that Micah's gonna find out soon.
Oh yeah,
Like Micah, you gonna find out soon.
yeah.
So,
And then also the question is Micah gonna ask for the type of money that Miles Garrett got?
and that's why Dallas will let him go.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Jerry Jones has completely turned that organization upside down. It's just a crap show. So,
Well, we always said the problem with the Dallas Cowboys is not the players on the field. It's the people in the press box and the owner's box. That's the problem with the Dallas Cowboys.
yep,
But when Micah comes around and he sees that Miles Garrett it got 42, 43 million uh per, I'm trying to tell you, that's when reality is gonna set in for Micah Parsons. And if I was Jerry Jones, I would have signed him anyway.
yeah,
I would have signed him last year.
yeah. Didn't want to do it. But,
And then on top of that, he gave Dak $65 million. I would have never gave Dak that money.
yep,
I would have signed Micah and I would have signed CeeDee Lamb and I would have told Dak deuces.
yeah, 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 yeah. CD Lamb was in news talking about how the Bears suck. So we'll see you whenever the Bears play, y'all.
That's fine. He can say that all he wants. I don't know why he would have said that because he's the cowboy.
I know. He said it. He was talking to some fan on a podcast that the Bears suck. Then Jaquan Brisker tweeted him like, "We'll see y'all."
Yeah.
So also we'll see good old
And
Eberflus
yeah,
because he's the DC there. But
he's a
anyways,
DC there. Anyway,
Denver Broncos, they made some solid moves defensively.
yep.
They signed Hufanga and Trey Greenlaw from the 49ers.
I knew about Greenlaw. I didn't know about Ufunga.
Yeah, they
Really?
got Hufanga too.
Wow. Huh. Denver's looking pretty good.
And then they also signed tight end Evan Ingram to a 2 year, $23 million deal.
Yeah, I know about that, but Hufanga's got to be healthy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he plays head first, which, really good safeties do. I mean, that's why Brisker is, you know, we're thinking about, we're hoping Brisker comes back 100%, but
Mhm.
got to be healthy.
Yep. So solid moves by the Denver Broncos. Um, the Detroit Lions, their big signing, they really haven't done anything, but their big signing is getting DJ Reed from the Jets to come over there. He's basically replacing Carlton Davis. He got 3 years, $48 million for a cornerback.
Yep, that's it. It was a good signing. For the most part, it keeps the train on the tracks. I think the big issue with Detroit is going to be the coaching staff, not necessarily the players.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. Um, Packers haven't done much of anything either. They re-signed Brandon McManus 3 years, 15.3 million. They signed Aaron Banks for the 49ers 4 years, 77 million. And then they got cornerback Nate Hobbs 4 years, 48 million. But other than that, they haven't done much of anything.
I mean, it was really good signings.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would sign McManus to that kind of cash, but you know, it's a good kicker.
Houston Texans. They made some moves. A questionable move that I thought was stupid on them is why would they trade Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders? But their offensive line was the absolute dog crap last year, so let's try to make it even worse.
I don't think they wanted to sign him long term, um, but you know, Eagles made an interesting trade with the Texans as well too.
Yes.
So,
They traded CJ Gardner Johnson, and the Texans sent them in another offensive lineman. I think he's a guard, which ended up replacing Mekhi Becton.
yeah,
Um, He basically CJ Gardner Johnson has 2 more years remaining on his deal. He's got 19 million.
yep,
Um, they also signed Christian Kirk. Or they no, they traded for Christian Kirk. He has one
traded,
year
yep.
remaining, 15.5 million on his deal. They re-signed Derek Barnett. Um, Most of their moves has been like mini moves. Like they've got Braxton Berrios, Darrell Taylor, Sheldon
Yeah.
Rankins. It's just these mini moves. They gotta improve the offensive line, if you ask me, because if they want CJ Stroud to stay upright and not get hurt, they gotta get that offensive line going. I don't again, maybe they probably didn't want to pay a Tunsil all that money. I'm not an advocate of letting good offensive linemen leave the building, even though he had a down year last year. He's still solid. Um, it's interesting to see what they're going to do at the offensive line, especially I don't know who their new offensive coordinator is going to be, but it's going to be interesting to see how their new offense a coordinator is and how the offensive line looks because if it doesn't get any better and the offense still looks stagnant like it did last year, well, D'Amico Ryans might be on the hot seat faster than we think.
I'm not going to go that far. All I'm going to say is that, they've made some moves to get better. There's still the draft in order to build the offensive line. D'Amico Ryans have already shown he's a really good head football coach.
Yeah.
So, and you got a franchise quarterback. Typically, when a coach has a really good franchise quarterback, then everything seems to come aboard under his feet. They just had some really big injuries at the wide receiver position, which really derailed them last year. So the draft is coming for them to build the offensive line. I think they'll be fine.
Colts, they didn't make any big moves. Well, outside of Kavarius Ward, they signed him 3 years, 60 million. Why you decided to go to the Colts, I don't know.
3 years, 60 million. That's why wasn't nobody else gonna give him that kind of
True,
cash.
true. He also has been through a lot too, personally.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good defensive back, but I mean, I'm just like, dude, man, you can't turn down
Yeah,
360.
yeah.
Not as a DB. You can't turn down 360.
And then another move is they signed Daniel Jones 1 year, 14 mil.
Yeah, I thought it was a good signing too. I mean, he won't start, obviously.
Sure.
Um, but at the same time, though, he does have some of the requisite skills that Anthony Richardson does have as far as using his feet, whereas Joe Flacco didn't. So,
He's also
um,
more mature than Anthony Richardson. I'll give him that.
that's true. That's true. And then on top of it, he does have some starts under his belt, which will allow him to be able to let Anthony Richardson, um, know certain things from a starting quarterback standpoint. So I think, you know, it's a new change, it's a change of scenery, and maybe it'll help Daniel Jones out.
Jacksonville, they didn't really do much of anything. Well, they made signings, but not anything big. They got Jordan Lewis, cornerback, through 3 years, 30 million. He came over from the Cowboys, and I think he also added to the DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons thing, saying, I know what really goes on in that building. Um,
hmm And a reporter shoved that microphone in his face and probably asked that exact same question. Hey, are you happy being away from Dallas?
yep, yeah.
What's the difference between the where you are now and where you were last year? You know.
Right. That's the thing. It's gonna be interesting to see what Jacksonville does in the draft. They did get some offensive linemen signing. They signed a center. They signed an offensive lineman. They got a backup quarterback in Nick Mullins, who's solid. I would say is better than Mac Jones, but other than that, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what they do. Kansas City, they put Trey Smith on the franchise tag. They restructured Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones' contract. Um,
hmm
so there's that. They re-signed Nick Bolton. They re-signed Hollywood Brown to a 1 year deal. Um, They got Elijah Mitchell. Again, it's these moves that, realistically, it's kind of just like small things. They're going to probably address some of their moves in the draft and things like that. So, yeah. And then obviously, it's expected that they're going to give a big contract to Trey Smith to lock him up long term. So, nothing else really there.
No, I mean signing Elijah Mitchell might be a really good signing, to tell
Mhm.
you honestly. They had issues at the running back position when Pacheco went down. I mean, Hunt wasn't greatly
Oh, yeah, they
effective.
did resign Hunt too.
Well, but that's my point. My point is that now they have a stable of three in the background, whereas last year they really only had two. So, and Mitchell has proven that he can actually, handle the workload, even if it's just maybe for 3 or 4 games, if one of these other cats get hurt. So I thought the Elijah Mitchell signing was a good signing.
The Las Vegas Raiders.
They
Huh,
did something.
yeah, they did stuff.
Oh, okay.
So they re-signed Max Crosby for 3 years, 106.5 million.
Oh,
They locked him up. So Max Crosby, I think, for all the trades everybody keeps thinking he's gonna want out of, the Raiders, he keeps
well,
signing deals with the Raiders. So I think he
three
might.
years, 3 years, 106 million. I mean, that's about what, 35 per? Boy, defensive lineman, oh, man, they raking in the dough, ain't they?
Yeah, yeah. Only gonna see
35,
what Trey Hendrickson gets.
man, 35 million for an edge rusher? Okay, all right.
I don't know if we talked about it, but Pete Carroll's their new head coach too. I think it's a solid move for them, but I think he's got like 3 years and he got to retire.
Yeah, he's 71 years old, man, and he's the head coach of a team without a quarterback.
Oh, I'm about to get to that. So
Oh, my bad.
they ended up trading for Geno Smith. Seattle traded, um, basically the Raiders traded I think a second and a third rounder to get Geno Smith, and Geno Smith is now reunited with Pete Carroll in
Pete
Vegas.
Carroll with Brock Bowers as his number one target. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. I gotta admit, I'm not gonna lie. I still say don't trust the Raiders. I won't trust them until I see them for a few games. But that's a big move. Now all they got to do is just get some other pass catches around Bowers. But that's a big move. I like that.
yeah. Also, I'm trying to see if I can find because they're actually going to extend him money. Because he's got one more year left on his deal. I gotta see.
Hmm.
I gotta pull it up, but they pulled that trade. I don't know, but I know it's a crazy amount of money that they're paying him. It's money that Seattle didn't want to pay him, but
Okay,
solid move for the Raiders. They get a nice stopgap quarterback for a few years till they got to eventually draft somebody,
that's true.
unless they do take a quarterback in this draft.
That's true. And they do have a high enough pick. Now we'll what are the Raiders? 6.
I think so.
Okay. I mean, I don't think um I mean Shador might be available. Maybe, possibly. From what I've been seeing on television and reading that not a lot of, scouts are have shown that they are, although you can't believe it,
Yeah,
but really interested in Shador. Sometimes teams will throw that out just to keep you from drafting. So then that way you can say on draft day, well, he was our guy all the time.
yeah. So we'll see what the Raiders do. They signed Adam Butler, defensive tackle, 3 years, 16 mil. Malcolm Cononce 1 year. He's an edge, 12. Um, they got Eric Stokes, cornerback. They got Raheem Mostert, running back there. So some solid moves. I don't think the Raiders are going to do nothing regardless, though, but we'll
Mhm.
see. The Chargers. They lost, I would say, a good chunk of people, mostly cut people, but
Yeah.
that's the thing. They re-signed Elijah Molden, 3 years, 18.75 million. They re-signed Khalil Mack, 1 year, 18 million. It was funny because all over my TL, I'm seeing Bear fans like, "Hey, we might have a shot to get Khalil Mack again." Thank God we didn't pay him 18 fucking million.
I gotta admit, in that regard, I'm glad we gave the 18 million to a much younger
Younger
cat.
player,
You know, Khalil is a good player now. He once was a great
great
player,
player.
and we did have him for what, 3 seasons. And for me, he was good just that one
That one
season.
year, and then he kind of just fell off. He was still solid, but not
Correct.
as dominant he was when
So,
he first that 2018.
so, yeah, I would much rather look forward, not look into the past. And, we don't have to bring any, you know, blast from the past back to this current Bears franchise. So we can just simply say to Khalil Mack, hey, dog, we appreciate you for the years you gave Chicago. Just enjoy Los Angeles. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Um, they will still need to get another edge rusher, but
That's true. That's what the draft is for.
yeah. They signed Mekhi Becton from the Eagles, 2 years, 20 million. He was solid
Mhm.
last year. He was solid.
Well,
Um,
when he was healthy, he was.
yeah,
I mean, the Eagles ran the ball so doggone much, man. The I mean, the Eagles' offensive line, they just limped into the playoffs last year. So, and I mean, they did well and they won it all, but it wasn't without drama.
yeah.
So, you know,
The Chargers also signed Najee Harris to a 1 year deal, 9.25 million. Solid
yep,
running back signing.
yep.
They also got back Mike Williams, 1 year, 6 million.
Hmm.
It says that they got Jalen Rager as well, so
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Extra bodies that they didn't have last year. Lad McConkey is still probably going to be the number one guy over there.
They still
And
need a legit number one because what's his face from TCU definitely is not that dude.
no, no, but I got to admit, Lad has been
Oh yeah, he's really good.
Lad was really good with them. So I think they got their number one dude. It's just a matter of having a bunch of other consistent dudes around him, and maybe a tight end.
Yeah.
I
So
wouldn't
yeah,
be shocked if the Chargers go tight end with their first pick.
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Um, you what? You think they're taking the Penn State dude?
If he falls, yeah,
The other Los Angeles team, the Rams. A lot of drama unfolded with Matthew Stafford potentially being traded, but no, they're not going to trade him. They actually restructured his contract. They
yep,
re-signed Jimmy Garoppolo to still be his backup. The big
yep.
move that they made outside of the other little small signings that they got was they got Devontae Adams, 2 years, $46 million deal.
You mean to tell me that he left Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah. You ain't going with Aaron Rodgers wherever Aaron Rodgers going. The Jets cut him.
We'll we'll see, man. I'm not a big Devonte Adams fan. Um, I'm just not a fan, and now he's becoming that journeyman dude that you know he's basically becoming DeAndre Hopkins.
If this place doesn't work out for him, then I don't know what place will work out for him. Like, if you're not paired with Sean McVay and that doesn't work out with you, and you're still with Matthew Stafford, who's pretty dang good, with
Correct.
him, like that's the thing. Which
Correct.
I saw that move, and I'm like, frick, the Rams might be right now my division winning favorites with this move. Like, holy,
Correct.
and plus you got Puka.
And you got Puka. That's correct. Puka's clearly the number one guy over there. So let's just see how Devontae Adams fits in, and let's just hope that he don't go over there doing that wide receiver diva crap that he did in with Los Angeles and Green Bay at the tail end of his tenure there. Let's just hope he ain't doing all of that crap. So, um, but other than that, on paper, it's a good signing.
Miami Dolphins. So they haven't I haven't heard much of anything. The only big thing I saw that they got Zach Wilson to back up Tua, but there's that. But I guess on the list it says they signed James Daniel, offensive lineman, 3 years, 24 million, which is okay, interesting. They signed
It's
our good
okay.
old, they signed our good old friend Larry Borum.
Really? So they signed two ex Bears, huh?
Yeah.
Mm.
I'll tell you that they didn't do anything. So moving on. Minnesota Vikings. They re-signed Byron Murphy Jr., 3 years, $66 million deal. Re-signed Aaron Jones, 2 years, 20 mil.
Hmm.
Re-signed Theo Jackson, safety, 2 years, 12.615 million. Um, And then some of the moves that they made, they signed guard Will Fry is coming over from the Colts, 5 years, $88 million deal. Jonathan Allen, who was cut by the Commanders,
Hmm.
signed with the Vikings. I was hoping the Bears were going in, but then they made the move for Grady Jarrett. Jonathan Allen is going to Minnesota, 3 years, 60 mil. Ryan Kelly, former center with the Saints, who I think is coming off a broken leg, 2 years, 18 million. Then they signed Isaiah Rogers, 2 years, 15 million. They got Javon Hargrave, don't know what that is, how much money they made, and they also signed or they traded for Jordan Mason, running back from
I
the.
will say this, and you kind of touched on it that the Bears were interested in Jonathan Allen, but they did get Grady Jarrett at a lesser price.
Yeah,
Just want to say that. So, um, but the signings at the Minnesota, I do think that, Hargraves and Allen will be some really good competitors up front for them.
yeah.
So we'll see where that goes.
Only other question is with Sam Darnold leaving, what the hell is the quarterback situation? Are they going
Oh,
Aaron Rodgers? Are they going
well,
JJ?
McCarthy. I mean,
Good,
just McCarthy.
good.
Just go
Um,
McCarthy, and let's see how he plays. He was their franchise guy from the start. There was no doubt whatsoever that they were going to be that McCarthy was going to be their dude moving forward. The injury just set that back a little bit. So we'll see. I'm pretty sure they'll probably bring in someone with a little bit more experience to start the season out until McCarthy's ready, but they will use McCarthy moving forward as their starting quarterback.
if there you go, JJ McCarthy, well, that's fine by me because I don't got no belief in him. I got to see
I
it to believe
mean,
it with him.
I got to see it to believe it too, but you got to admit the kid is a smart quarterback.
Yeah, and he does have Kevin O'Connell, but we'll see.
That's true.
We'll see.
That's true.
My boy Matt's New England Patriots. They made some signings. They actually started spending some money. Wow.
Of course, they got money. They got a guy at the head coaching position that, they trust. They didn't trust Jared Mayo.
Oh yeah.
They didn't.
So
Come on.
they signed some deals. Milton Williams, defensive tackle from Philadelphia, comes over to New England. 40 years, 104 million.
And they had a lot of money to spend now.
Yeah.
Um, I think they had like maybe upwards of 100.
Yep.
111 is the one that kicks out to me. I believe the Patriots had. So yeah, they open up the checkbook to some folks.
Carlton Davis. He's leaving Detroit to go with them. Signed 3 years, 60 million.
Mhm.
Harold Landry, who used to be with Vrabel in Tennessee, signed with the Patriots, 3 years, 43.5 million.
Mhm.
Robert Spillane, 3 years, 37 million. They got Morgan Moses, offensive tackle, 3 years, 24 million. They got Mac Hollins coming over from Buffalo, 2 years, 8.4 million. Solid weapon for frick. Drake May, God. Uh, Josh Dobbs will be backing Drake May up, 2 years, 8 million. Chris Tonga, 1 year, 2.5 million. They also re-signed Austin Hooper. They got some solid moves there. I know
They
my
did.
boy Matt is happy. Now I still do think they need to go get Drake May, a legit number one wide receiver weapon,
I
because I think
agree. I agree there. Otherwise, it won't happen in the first round. But unless they decide to trade down.
yeah,
But I honestly think that they'll probably use the second or third pick overall is what they have.
I think it's
Um,
third.
I think it's third. Yeah. So I mean, obviously they're not drafting quarterback. So they'll more likely probably go get Abdul Carter. I was thinking,
Yeah,
you know, and grab someone for that defense. Um, 'cause that is Vrabel's side of the ball. So it wouldn't shock me one bit they go defense. And if they don't find the defensive guy they want, then just trade down.
yeah. New Orleans Saints. Chase Young gets 3 years, 51 million. Um, Interesting contract there.
Hey, he didn't get 35, 40 million.
Yeah,
I mean, it's roughly what, 16 million a year?
yeah, but
That's
for the Saints salary cap issues, that's a lot.
Well, yeah, that's true too, which probably tells me they're probably about to release some folks or get folks to, take less money.
Hmm.
But the Saints have been doing this for years though with their contracts. They're always, in the red, it seems like, when
Yeah.
it comes to the salary cap.
Yep. They restructured Nathan Shepard's defensive tackle deal. They signed Justin Reed, 31.5 million.
Mhm.
They restructured Tyrann Matthews' contract. They didn't really do much of anything, so
No, they didn't. But the main thing is they kept Matthew though.
yeah. Yeah. The New York Football Giants.
Oh Jesus, here we go.
They re-signed Slayton 3 years, 36 million.
Yep,
They re-signed their punter, I guess, 3 years, 9 million.
yep,
Tommy DeVito, 1 year, 1.3 million. Outside of
yep.
that, um, they signed Paul Adabu, 3 years, 54 mil. Safety Jevion Holland, 3 years, 45 mil.
Just get to the big one. Come on, man. You know all of these signings don't mean nothing. Just give me
There's
the
no
one I
big
want to
signings.
hear.
That's it.
Give me the one I want to hear.
That's it. Those were probably the biggest signings that they
And
got.
we're talking about the Jets.
Giants.
Oh, Giants. Okay, I thought you. Oh, man, I'm waiting for the Jets.
I'm not just saying New York Football Jets. I said New York Football Giants.
Okay, fine. I'm three times your age. I don't hear so good sometimes. I'm getting excited when I heard New York.
Okay, let's get to the Jets then, because the
Get to the
Giants didn't do
Jets.
shit.
And I don't care about all the other signings. I just want to talk about that one.
Okay, so the Jets. Obviously, the biggest move that they got was the fact that they paid Justin Fields 40 million and he getting 30 million guaranteed. 2 year deal.
Thank you. The young man will finally get an opportunity to show what he can do.
Okay, go ahead.
Who else is starting?
Nobody.
Absolutely. He now has his opportunity.
Yep.
The opportunity he's been whining for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Now he has it. Granted, it's in the media capital of the country or the world in New York.
Yeah.
He's got it. I am so hyped to actually see him get this opportunity and see what he does with it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, whoever their offensive coordinator is,
He's
whoever
coming
they
over from Detroit. He's coming over from Detroit with I don't know who he is, but he came over
well,
from
we'll see. We'll see. I'm just excited for Justin Fields, man. I think it's a great opportunity, and we should just hope he does well. Problem is, he's in the NFC East. I
AFC.
mean, AFC East. I'm sorry. He's in AFC East with probably with two really good teams. Actually, that division is always tough.
Yeah, we'll see how Justin Fields does. This is definitely going to be his last big time contract. He's got to show up, plain and
You think
simple.
this will be his last contract?
Well, not his
I mean, he's
last
got two
contract, but
years. If I'm right,
his
what is it, 2 years?
2 years, 40 million, 30 guaranteed.
30 guarantees. So again, he has 2 years to make an impression to be able to get that last big one, to get a big contract.
Yeah. He's just got to
So,
show up and he's got to be consistent in his play.
he's got to show up and show out.
So, he got Garrett Wilson there. They also signed Josh Myers, who was his center back at Ohio State.
That's correct.
They still got to make another wide receiver move there because I think it's just Garrett Wilson and nobody else.
And you got Brees Hall,
Yeah.
who's a really good running back. So the Jets and the defense is still good. I think they're better than decent.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We will see. I am pulling for the guy. He's gonna wear number 7, apparently. That's his number. So
I don't care about the number, just so as long as he plays well.
there you go. So if he's still, I wonder if they'll schedule a Bears Jets game next year because they want to have Caleb Williams versus. So if he ever signed with the Steelers and he ended up being Steelers quarterback, we played the Steelers this year. So if they want to do Jets versus Bears next year, Caleb Williams versus Justin Fields. Well,
That'd be nice.
Eagles.
Put, put
They
that
re
thing on Monday night.
Eagles. They re-signed Zach Bond, 3 years, 51 million.
Good signing.
Good signing. they re-signed Saquon Barkley immediately.
Oh, hell yeah.
So they did that. They got Dorian Thompson-Robinson to be the backup. That's the trade they did with for Kenny Pickett. Um, they traded for Kenyon Green. That's who they traded CJ Gardner-Johnson for. They got
Hmm.
AJ Dillon. Um, and then they got Joshua Uche. And that's basically it.
Wow, you said they got AJ Dillon.
Yeah.
Really? That's a good signing.
Pittsburgh Steelers. They traded for DK Metcalf and gave him 5 years, 150 million.
That's great. Wonderful. Who gonna throw him the ball?
I don't know.
Who's calling the plays?
You know who?
I mean, Arthur likes to run. He's not that passing kind of offensive coordinator. It's what did him in Atlanta as a head coach.
Yeah.
He ran the ball too much and couldn't pass. So now you got this stud of a wide receiver, and you don't have a quarterback.
They got
Yeah, you
Darius
you
Slay.
had to you had to give Metcalf all of that money
Yeah.
just to shut him up when y'all come back with probably
Hmm.
a average quarterback.
Yep. They also signed Darius Slay 1 year, 10 mil. Outside of that, who knows? Do they trade for Kirk Cousins? Do they go get Aaron Rodgers? I don't know.
Mhm.
Otherwise, the penciled in, or do they resign Russell
Well,
Wilson?
I definitely wouldn't go with Aaron Rodgers. Not with Mike T there.
Yeah.
That's for sure oil and water.
49ers didn't do much of anything. It was just kind of I've just been seeing them cut more guys and trade more guys away than
Yeah.
do anything.
They're
So that's
penny. They're for sure penny pinching, probably because they're probably going to wind up giving Brock a lot of money, and he should penny pinch there too.
Seattle Seahawks. Um, the
Another
big
penny pinching
signing,
team.
huh?
Another penny pinching team.
Well, they didn't do that because they paid Sam Darnold 100 win mil.
They gave Sam 100 million.
Yes,
God doggone!
3 years,
My
100
goodness,
million.
ain't America great?
They signed Jared or they re-signed Ernest Jones the fourth and Jaron Reed. Um, yesterday they also got Cooper Cup, 3 years, 45 million.
Okay, I take back everything I just said.
And then they also paid DeMarcus Lawrence 3 years, 42 mil.
Yeah, I take everything I just said back. Now the only thing is, can Darnold do with Seattle
What he
what he
did
did
with
with Minnesota?
now Clint Kubiak's the OC there. He had time with Clint Kubiak in San Francisco back when he was the backup
Yeah,
coach.
that's true. And Kubiak has shown that he's a really good play caller. So listen to everything that you said. That Cooper Cup was a good signing with Jackson and Jibba.
Yeah.
I hope I said that right.
Yeah.
And Tyler Lockett. I think that's a really good trio of wideouts. So
Tyler Lockett
and
got cut.
Lockett cut.
Yeah, he's cut.
Oh well, I mean Jackson and Jimba is still. I hate doing it.
There you go.
He he's still there. They got their clear cut number one for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. Um, does it make them a division favorite? Not necessarily.
Could challenge the Rams, could.
Yeah, they could.
Well, Cooper Cup's back home. I also think he did this because he was mad that the Rams cut him. So there's that.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If my uncle's back, the heck happened with his connection?
Back.
You back?
Am I back?
I can hear you.
Am I back?
Can, yep, you're back now.
Can you see me?
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. I actually plugged something into my phone. I guess it just distorted the signal.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as we're getting out of here with this video. Chris Godwin. They resigned him 3 years, 66 million.
Good signing.
They
What else were
resigned,
they? What else were they gonna do?
yeah. They signed Levante David 1 year, 10 mil. They signed Hassan Reddick 1 year, 14 mil.
Mm-hmm.
That was basically most of the moves. I guess Kendall
Yeah.
Vildor's still playing in this league. They signed him.
Damn, he's still around.
Guess so.
Hey, you can always. I guess you can always find work in the NFL if you've proven that you can play.
Yeah. Tennessee Titans, they didn't do much of anything outside of getting Dan Moore Jr. 4 years, 82 million. He's a tackle.
Mm-hmm. Good tackle though.
Yeah. Nothing else there. Washington, the last team, Washington Commanders. Uh, they traded for Debo Samuel 1 year, 17.5 million left on his deal. Solid
Mm-hmm.
move. We'll see how that works. He's more of a gadget guy than a wide receiver, but you know,
I agree. I agree there. Um, and then when defenses take you away from a gadget standpoint, San Francisco, and then on top, there's the injury
yep.
aspect. Because of how he was used so frequently at the running back and tight end positions, yeah, he got hurt a lot.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So, but the Commanders, they did do a lot.
Um, they traded for Laramie Tunsil. That's gonna be a solid left tackle
Mhm.
for them, to protect
Mhm.
Jaden Daniels' blind side. They resigned
Mhm.
Bobby Wagner to a 1 year, 9.5 deal. Shocking that he actually stayed with them instead of going to Vegas to go be back with his original coach. But, hey, he got a connection with Dan Quinn. Zach Ertz
Yep.
also resigned. That's a good sign for them.
Yep.
Um, yeah, they got Javon Kinlaw, 3 years, 45 million.
Yep. That was a good sign. Nice little interior defensive lineman. Really good to replace Jonathan Allen. So, um, and on top of that, they got him for less money.
Yeah. Marcus Mariota is going to continue to be the backup there. He signed a 1 year, $8 million deal there.
Yep.
But other than that, that's basically it. They made some solid moves to continue to improve their team to try to win now on that rookie contract.
Correct.
Obviously, the debate will be, are they better than the Eagles now with all the moves the Eagles made, especially with the moves that they made of the defense departing? I still say no.
No,
Um, you know,
but they are good enough to stay in the
yeah.
playoff hunt every year. Winning the NFC East, I think the Eagles are just too good, but they can, make it difficult for the Eagles to win that division. But
Yeah. And then
other than, I think that's the best we can expect out of the Commanders.
yeah, but other than that, that's basically all the moves and everything. Also, I forgot to mention, Cooper Rush is now the backup to Lamar Jackson. So he left the Cowboys. Me got sick and tired of Dak Prescott too.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that's
Yep.
basically all the free agency moves. Solid moves from all teams. Well, a few teams, but you know, excited. If there's anything else breaking, I'll probably make a video about it. But we're really looking forward to the draft.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
From now, this is we're off the NFL. We're just talking about the Chicago Bears.
yeah,
I am so looking forward to this draft. I can't even just explain it. So, size. Draft them big and draft them long.